Here are the top stories of the news. Labor unions direct FCT workers to resume work following a conciliatory meeting with Nyesom Wike. Natasha Akpoti-Oduah files counter-affidavit at Supreme Court to oppose Godswill Akpabio's appeal. On the foreign scene, Bill Clinton and wife agreed to testify in congressional investigation into late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Olufemi Alebe. The labor unions under the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria (TUC) and the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) have directed their members working in the Federal Capital Territory to resume work immediately following a late-night conciliatory meeting with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. The directive was contained in a circular dated February 3, 2026 and addressed to all affiliates of the TUC and NLC. The circular was jointly signed on behalf of Joint Union Action Committee and the workers by the Secretary General of the TUC, Nuhu Toro, and the Acting General Secretary of the NLC, Benson Upa. According to the unions, the meeting began at 11:45 p.m. and ended at 3:51 a.m. afterwards they described as extensive and frank deliberations. The leadership urged compliance with the directive, stating that all affiliates are enjoined to comply strictly with the directive in the interest of industrial peace and harmony in good faith. The directive followed the suspension of a planned protest by the NLC and TUC in Abuja on Tuesday. Talking politics, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) faction led by Abdulrahman Mohammed has officially scheduled its national convention for March 28 and 29, 2026 in Abuja, following its 105th National Executive Committee meeting on Monday. The meeting, chaired by Mohammed, National Caretaker Committee Chairman, with Secretary Samuel Anyanwu, discussed the state of the party, preparations for upcoming congresses, and judicial developments affecting the PDP. The NEC reaffirmed the legitimacy and authority of the Abdulrahman Mohammed-led National Caretaker Committee, emphasizing that it remains the only lawful national administrative organ of the party and will continue to act as the National Working Committee until elected leadership is installed. The committee also approved the schedule for party congresses across the country, welcoming the judgment of the Federal High Court in Ibadan. The NEC reiterated its support for the independence of the judiciary and urged all party organs and members to act strictly in accordance with court rulings. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Nentawe Yilwatda, has said President Bola Tinubu's foreign trips are yielding tangible economic benefits for Nigeria, citing massive investment inflows and strengthened global partnerships as clear evidence that the administration's international engagements are paying off. Yilwatda, in a statement issued by Special Advisor on Media and Communications Strategy, Abimbola Tuki, on Tuesday, said President Tinubu's foreign trips are strategic engagements that have boosted Nigeria's global partnerships and attracted significant foreign investments. In recent months, President Tinubu's frequent foreign trips have attracted strong criticism from opposition leaders. While critics describe the travels as wasteful, the presidency has consistently maintained that they are essential to repositioning Nigeria within the global community. Defending the president, the APC national chairman said such criticisms overlook the bigger picture, stressing that the benefits of President Tinubu's international engagement far outweigh the costs. Moving on, the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Oduah, has filed a counter-affidavit at the Supreme Court to oppose an appeal by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. The court documents showed that the counter-affidavit was disposed to by a senior legislative aide to Akpoti-Oduah and filed in response to Akpabio's motion on notice dated January 21, 2026. In the suit, Akpoti-Oduah urged the Apex Court to dismiss the application describing it as lacking merit and an abuse of court process. The respondent stated that Akpabio was given full opportunity to present his case at the Court of Appeal and that Akwotudua's brief of argument was properly filed and never challenged. They alleged that while other parties complied with the 35-page limits prescribed by the Court of Appeal rules, 2021 Akpabio's brief exceeded the limit and was not regularized within the time allowed, prompting the court to decline its admission. The court affidavit further argued that the grounds of appeal raised issues of mixed law and fact without prior leave of court, rendering the appeal incompetent. The development comes a week after Akpabio again approached the Supreme Court over the suspension of Akpoti-Udua. Proceedings resumed on Monday in London in the corruption and bribery trial of former Nigerian Petroleum Minister Daisy Alison Madueke. The jurors had detailed evidence of an extravagant spending trial at a luxury antiques store in the capital. Prosecutors told the court that as much as £140,000 was spent in a single day on high-end furniture, bespoke lighting and decorative art, allegedly paid for through intermediaries during her time in office. The public gallery of the court was filled with supporters from the Ijaw community who had flown in specifically. Alison Madueke denied multiple charges relating to alleged misconduct while overseeing Nigeria's oil and gas sector, but prosecutors claim she received cash and luxury benefits in exchange for influence over energy contracts. The Lagos government has again defended the Makoko demolition, noting that the action forms part of a broader statewide safety and environmental policy aimed at preventing disasters linked to unsafe settlements, fire outbreaks, and high-risk infrastructure locations. This is according to the special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on EGs and urban development, Olajide Babatunde, who spoke during a press briefing held at Alausa, Ikeja. Babatunde said the state's intervention in Makoko was driven primarily by the need to protect lives, particularly in areas located beneath high-tension power lines. He explains that the government had earlier explored multiple redevelopment options for Makoko, including a proposed shoreline extension project. However, the plan was discontinued after environmental assessments by technical experts, construction firms, and international partners indicated that it posed significant ecological risk to the lagoon and surrounding marine life. According to him, the state has since adopted the Water Cities project as a more sustainable alternative which allows for continued habitation of the fishing community while addressing sanitation infrastructure as environmental concerns.
They have both tangible and intangible heritage. Tangibility in terms of their building and the location that there is tangible. Intangibility in the way they use space. Maybe they are even worshiping one God. Maybe there's something that you don't know. You understand? So when you now say you move them to another community, I said no, we are not going to move them. We're going to have that project in situ on that place. And one of the things that we discuss amongst ourselves is that we need to quickly build a transit camp so that when we are doing, if we divide it into 4 segments, the first segment we will move all of them out. When you find people in an area, they have both tangible and intangible heritage. Tangibility in terms of their building and the location that there is tangible. Intangibility in the way they use space. Maybe they are even worshiping one God. Maybe there's something that you don't know. You understand? So when you now say you move them to another community, I said no, we are not going to move them. We're going to have that project in situ on that place. And one of the things that we discuss amongst ourselves is that we need to quickly build a transit camp so that when we are doing, if we divide it into 4 segments, the first segment we will move all of them out, build the other city, and then return them there and take another set and then build, until we finish building that other city.
Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC has confirmed the deaths of 6 passengers in a road crash around the Foursquare camp along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, while 23 others sustained injuries. The Public Relations Officer of the command, Odunsin Afolabi, confirms these in a statement on Monday in Abeokuta, the state capital. Afolabi attributed the cause of the accident to fatigue and speeding, which led to loss of control. He also warned against mixed loading of cattle and passengers, noting that it often makes it difficult to separate humans and goods during transit, which may result in loss of lives. The FRSC admonished all motorists to regularly service and inspect commercial vehicles, especially heavy trailers. In other news, the federal government of Nigeria on Monday flagged off a free nationwide training of 10 million Nigerians on financial inclusion and literacy. This is just as the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, said Nigeria can reap bountifully from its demographic dividend only if young Nigerians and women are equipped with the needed skills and ethical grounding required for a speedily progressing digital economy. The training being undertaken by the Office of the Vice President through the Presidential Committee on Economic and Financial Inclusion, chaired by Vice President Shettima, is designed to equip Nigerians, particularly women and youths, with essential financial skills, investment knowledge, and digital competencies for sustainable wealth creation. Speaking when he officially flagged off the free nationwide training of 10 million Nigerians on behalf of President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa Abuja, the Vice President noted that the signing of the MOU between the federal government and the 6 of Nigeria's foremost professional bodies was more than a formal agreement. Residents of Olojabala, a community in Atakumosa, West Local Government Area of Osun State, have called on Governor Ademola Adeleke to help curb the activities of alleged illegal miners in the area. During a protest to the premises of Raven 91.7 FM and Western Spring Television, the residents said the actions have led to displacement and insecurity in the community. Speaking in separate interviews, community members Ademola Razak and Lamini Sefiu appealed to the state's governor and the members of the Osun State House of Assembly to help resolve the situation. On their part, Mrs. Latifa Yakini and the youth leader in the town, Matthew Oluwafisayo, said illegal mining activities in Olojabala have made the community unsafe while constituting a threat to the health and livelihood of residents. According to the United Nations, illegal mining is a rapidly expanding criminal activity linked to organized crime, severe ecological destruction, and human rights abuses.
It was a rumor at first, but when we got there on that particular day, we saw that the population of those people that are there carrying out the illegal minings are up to maybe like 200 or maybe 150 totals in numbers. And later after that time, we had a meeting in our community, selected like 2 or 3 people to go there. And people are being coward. They are afraid of going down to that particular premises. But fortunately for us, we saw like 2 or 3 officers, of which they had to go down to that particular place with some peoples. But on getting there also, with the phobias they are having, when they saw the peoples with the ammunition they are having at their hands, it's another thing entirely. And also, if I could remember vividly, some times ago, we had something that came up in which one of the young ladies in our community was raped, and we never knew till this particular moment who actually did such a kind of bad things to that particular ladies. And there are so many kind of things in which we won't just opening our eyes to let this happen to the peoples of our community. This is an environment in which majority of the foods in which we are consuming in Osun State presently is being bring out to the market. And if this kind of activities is being going on, I think there will be a phobia for the farmers to go to their farms to perform their daily tasks, and this will cause a lot of damages and a lot of problems to the citizen of Osun State. So we are using these particular mediums to talk or to appeal to the governor of the state to help us look into this matter, so it won't go out of hand. We have known him as the best governor so far. He has been performing wonderfully well to the citizen of Osun. And as far as the election is around the corner, we strongly believe that it might be another things in which the government is not even aware of. So we are urging the government and the legislative and those people, the ESCOs in which the government that are working with the governments, to help us look into these issues, because it has gotten to a stage also whereby when you fetch the water, the well is not even bringing out a good and pure water again. The people in the state, the people in Atakumasa West at Olojabala, we are not sleeping with our eyes being closed again any longer. So we hereby urge the government and every of the legislators to help us, please comes to our aid towards the subject matter.
A representative of Olojabala residents there. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We'll be right back after this break.